And that concludes our presentation at this time.
I want to commend you on a great presentation, a lot of work here, obviously, and a lot of creativity, and I really appreciate the fact that you talk about, as extensively as you did, about human capital and the fact that community is about human beings and their needs, and take into consideration the public housing residents that you're going to be serving. One of my questions, and it's generous of you to donate the school and the community center, and I'm wondering, is there some precedent for a REIT being used to finance those kinds of facilities? Could you talk a little bit about that?
As far as precedents for it, I go back to the development principle. In order for me to have single-family homes here, I need to have, at this volume, we're proposing about 900 additional housing units going into this site. I need to have a school, and I need to provide that type of environment. And seeing the financial shape in which CPS is in, this is the best thing that we can do to make sure this development is a success from the beginning, as opposed to waiting with a lot of ifs on how, especially in the price range that we're going to be in. This should not be a question at hand. We do balance this, though. We're asking the city for a 20-year tax abatement in exchange for this.
How'd you come up with this idea? And how you patented it? Is it work?
Working on that. I've been doing real estate for about 15 years. The problem now with real estate is, if you're going to build something, this is a speculative development. How do you build this and ensure that it's going to be successful? People are going to buy it. And so, in looking at, okay, if I raise my own equity, I got two advantages here. I have to market the project anyway. This goes without saying. If I go to the bank or I go to a mezzanine lender to borrow money, they're going to charge me some fees up front, which is going to be equivalent to about 3-4%. This is very expensive. So if I marry both of them together, and if I can touch your heart, at a couple $1,000s, you're going to tell other people about this development. That word of mouth is going to spread much greater. If I can't touch your heart and I can touch your wallet just by saying, hey, you're not going to lose your money invested in this real estate project. That creates word of mouth beyond any precedence right now in this marketplace.
So do I have this right on in terms of where the rental project, the market rate rental project would be compared to the rest of the market? On page 14, so the proposed rents would be about $2,500 per unit, is that right?
That's approximate.
Okay.
In order to develop in this particular market, new construction, you're going to be at $2.60+. New City is doing a development, and which is done by structured development. And right now, from the conversation I had with them, they're at $2.60, and they've scaled back their development because of the capital stack in which it required to put it together.
I'm looking for the market rate comparable that you used on this, but even the Chicago housing plan, the affordable numbers are right at that range. They seem a little on the high side to me.
Well, when you're looking at the development, the median income of the development is going to raise with this development, commanding a little higher rate from the affordable side of living there.
I guess I'm not familiar with REITs at all. I've never done a deal with a REIT, but so if I'm kind of confused. So maybe you can help me. You are looking for what other sources, or are you now fully self-contained? With a REIT, you need other sources. Do you not? Obviously, from
sources of financing,
right? So for your affordable components and
This is the beauty of the certificate of deposit program.
Okay.
We're coming in with 75% equity. There is no other sources other than the tax abatement that we're looking for that we're going to need for financing. And one of the things we wanted to create in seeing that this was a green product, most of the green products that are being built now, they're heavily subsidized. We wanted to make sure this was financially feasible. In order for this to be financially feasible, you need a lot of money up front. You need to come in with a huge equity chunk to make it work.
So, but the affordability restrictions that are going to be placed on the public housing units, the affordable units and things like that, then you will then meet all of those restrictions?
Yes, that is correct. The way we have structured it is we have affordable as well as public housing in the multifamily, which is probably the largest component of our development, which is 600 units. The project is split up into 2 buildings for the multifamily. So we go with phase 1, and there's a percentage of public housing that goes there as well as affordable. And then we go to phase 2, which is the other building there. And the key here that we've looked at, the single-family homes, there is no public housing or affordable factor in the single-family homes. The public housing and the affordable housing is strictly contained to the multifamily, the townhomes, and the condominiums. And the reason being is if we bring the value, and this is not a matter of a person, the value of the property down, it's going to reflect going forward. And so we've made the single-family homes a larger home to balance with. So you'll notice that the square footage for the multifamily goes from about 600 one-bedrooms to a small amount of 3 bedrooms, and then your townhomes start at 3 to 5 bedrooms. However, your single-family homes start at 3 bedrooms as well, but they're much larger. The average square footage is larger as well. So we try to balance it and tier it throughout the development.
So just to jump back in because of my limited thinking ability, can you walk me through the phasing then again? I mean, are you starting all the residential aspects of parts at one time?
The key to completing this development is the retail. Once we get 100% of the retail in the first building done, which is going to be a big box retailer and a couple small box retailers, then that's when we start the project. So we have to get those commitments in place first. Then we go to build that entire building, including the multifamily. And then we move to phase 2 once we get 50 to 75% of the retailers in phase 2. Then we build that building completely, as well as the hotel. And we move back into the residential and the school and the other components of the development. So we're looking at about a 3-phase development over the course of about 7 years.
So residential would be, let's say, in the 3rd phase?
Yes.
And would you do both the single-family and...
the single-family and the townhomes and condos are going to transpire simultaneously. The build process will.
I had a question about the single-family and the townhouse and the condo. How did you come up with the mix? The number of single-family units, condos, it's a total of 355, right? So how did you come up with the breakdown that you did?
Yeah, it was based on research and what we need to account for, basically the urban fabric of what Chicago needs at this specific neighborhood. So based on research.
And then one of the other key components for the mix is we wanted to ensure, we started with addressing the human needs of the project, and knowing if we're going to build a residential development, we had to have a school, a community center, and the park was essential under the terms in which we kind of got from CHA. So once we placed those items in, that kind of dictated, okay, this is how much space you have left, based on the effectiveness of those items. And then once we looked at that, we said, okay, now we have to generate some income. And so we looked at how many single-family homes how many public housing and affordable housings can we do? And then what we had left over were the single-family homes. And then we tried to place it so it made sense. And we kind of, as any development, you move in, you move out, and you explore different models. And then we've looked at the American Housing Study, which is the research which he's talking about, as well as MLS data. And how many of these homes can we sell in a year? This kind of guided our timeline as well.
We wanted to create a mixed community, basically.
Could you also, my last question has to do with the hotel. Can you say a little bit more about why you think that this is a good location for a hotel product?
This is an excellent location for a home. It's located right on the corner of two major thoroughfares, Halsted and Division, that being one. And then if you look at the proximity that it is to North Avenue and the shopping area on North Avenue, you can walk to the Apple Store within 5 minutes in the Ridge Line. You can also walk to the Gold Coast within 7 to 10 minutes. And be right there on Michigan Avenue and shopping. This is not a luxury hotel. This is a mid-scale hotel, not a lot of bells and whistles, less than $200 a night. If you're coming into the city and you want to go to the theater, this is a great, there's no hotel around there to stay at. You're located between two major schools, actually three. You have Kendall College, UIC, which is less than 3 miles, DePaul, less than 2 miles. I mean, this is, although it may not look like it because we're in Chicago, we're so used to seeing Cabrini Green there, this is actually at the heart of what is going on in balancing that transition on going to the other side of the loop, going to Lincoln Park. And this is more so for weekend travelers and people from surrounding, in the Midwest area that are coming to visit. And with the influx of people in River North, Lincoln Park, I mean, there's no hotel of an affordable nature in the marketplace there. I love the hotel though.
I have one last question. The operating entities that is part of your the ownership structure, the developer, you're making CHA a partner?
Yes. One of the things that we kind of gathered from talking with CHA in the developments, in the partnerships that they've done in the past was, okay, they put up money, they put up land, they put up time, they put up effort, but there's no reward because most of them are, they're not financially profitable. This gives CHA an opportunity to participate in the actual financial profitability of it without putting too much in as to where they're upside down in their equity and where, I'm quite sure if they sat down and did the numbers, it probably wouldn't make sense numbers-wise, but from a human capital standpoint, it does make sense what they're doing. This gives them an opportunity, as well as this development, to kind of bridge that gap. Because they've focused on the human capital, but they've been missing in on the financial capital that is available. And that comes from doing developments that are financially feasible.
Right, but this is maybe a policy question, but do you think that a public entity whose goal is to produce, public housing units or a certain type of unit should be sharing necessarily financially?
In the profits from the land in which the taxpayers are, in which they're in charge of, most definitely they have a fiscal responsibility to make sure they have enough money to ensure that the human capital thing that they're doing actually works. So they don't continuously become they have a responsibility to do that. And they do make investments of this nature. I think most of the time we see them in the TIF arena and things of that nature. This is something named different, but the bottom line is their job, they have to remain fiscally healthy. And this allows them to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.